Hi everyone, thank you so much to come out and listen to my talk today. My name is Jen and I'm going to walk you through our work with Twilio to bring phone sign up and verification to Twitch. Our overall goal here was to grow our Twitch user base safely and securely. So let's make sure we get, oh, the big green button, got it. All right, so just a little overview of what we're gonna be talking about today. We have an introduction into me and Twitch. We're gonna walk through the opportunity that Twitch had at the time that we were integrating this solution. We'll go through how we decided on that solution, the integration of it, and the impact that it had. So, hi, I'm Jen Betzweiser. Yes, that's like Budweiser. And just to give you a quick introduction to myself, I have a diverse background. I've spent about 4 years in tech, the last 2 at Twitch, and I was at Twitter before that. And I spent about 6 years in finance before that and graduated from UVA with a degree in systems engineering. All that is to say, it took me a long time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And I encourage you, if you're unhappy in your job, to go out and try something new because there is a good fit for you somewhere. And then on a more personal note, I kind of resonate with everybody here in the Bay Area and that I'm into staying fit and balancing that fitness with yummy things such as fried chicken. And then I like to spend my time listening to music, going to concerts, reading, and of course traveling. Your standard kind of Bay Area techie right here. So what is Twitch? For those of you who don't know what Twitch is, we are live multiplayer entertainment. We're focused on bringing a live, shared experience where users can engage with others over the things they're most passionate about. So we provide a platform we provide an ability for creators to present and live stream things that they love and engage with an audience and build a community around that passion. The best example that I can give y'all, how many of you out here are golfers? Just a quick audience poll. All right, Somnia right here. Imagine you were walking down the 18th fairway of the Masters at Augusta with Adam Scott, and you could ask him, hey man, what club are you gonna use to hit it onto the green right here? And he might actually respond. Creating that connection, that communication, and that ability to connect over the things that you're most passionate about is what we're all about at Twitch. And contrary to popular belief, we are not all video gaming content. We also have sports, music, and art. And most recently, we launched a sister app, Twitch Sings, which is a karaoke experience I highly encourage you to check out. So enough about selling Twitch. Our vision at Twitch is to build an ecosystem of multiplayer creators. And in order to do that, we need to inspire our creators to stream the things they love. We need to help them grow an audience. And lastly, we need to help them earn money doing the things that they do. So you can see here, we have just a small flywheel on how we maintain growth on our platform. And today, at any given point in time, there are over 1 million people creating, viewing, and supporting live real-time experiences on Twitch. That is not all of our user base, obviously. Our user base is much, much larger than that, but at any given point in time, there are 1 million people engaging on our platform. So our goal, when we're thinking about where to go to next, is figuring out how we become the place for people to want to be entertained. And that's where I come in as a PM focused on viewer growth. So how do we get there? Talking about the opportunity that we had in terms of our mobile growth, I want to start out here with a quote from Eric Schmidt. Everybody here probably knows who that is, where he talks about just how important mobile is and being mobile first. As the internet continues to expand and is made available to more and more people, mobile is the way to go. So in order to grow, we need to meet users where they are and fulfill their diverse needs. Given that the future of video viewing is mobile, this is critical to Twitch's growth strategy. We want to make sure that we're prioritizing that mobile experience as much as possible. And when we think about the future and reaching more and more users, they're going to continuously become more diverse. They're going to be more diverse in terms of the devices that they're on. They're going to be more diverse in terms of the languages that they speak. And they're going to be more diverse in terms of what they want to be entertained by. So for us, it's super critical to think not only mobile first, but to also take off our US hat and understand how users are using our product internationally. Great. In addition to meeting users where they are and helping to fulfill their needs, we also have this responsibility to establish trust with our users. Twitch is always looking for ways to make our products more safe and secure, and we're also looking to do that as early in the customer relationship as possible. For many of us, that starts with sign up, that account creation. I want to take another audience poll here and think back to the last application that you signed up for. How many of you thought critically about the information you were providing to that application and how that information would be used? All right, okay. Now let's see. Let's take yourself 5 years ago. Did you apply that same critical lens to the application and the information that you were providing with them? I would say for me personally, I did not. But in the last 5 years, with everything that has happened through Facebook, through Cambridge Analytica, protecting our users' data and invoking a sense of trust has become more and more important. And again, a lot of that starts right with that account creation process. So when we combine those objectives, we hopefully will get an end-to-end trusted mobile experience that customers love. The solution. Now let's talk about how we came to using Twilio's Verify and Programmable SMS to grow our mobile audience. When thinking about account creation today, there are several options that you can use. Twitch started out with email. So when I was beginning to think about what I wanted to use in order to reach more audiences, I thought about phone and the various third-party sign-up tools that are available to us today. So here are just a couple examples of how you can see the infinite possible combinations of sign-up processes, both in using phone, email, and various third-party tools. So when I saw all those options, I was like, oh God, well, what am I going to use? There's so many things. Some of them are easy. Some of them integrate very, very well. Some of them require a longer timeline. Let's step back and think about what our goals are. First off, we want to be able to meet our mobile-first users' expectations. As always, being customer-centric is critical in our line of work. Secondly, we want to minimize the disruption to the Twitch viewing experience by making sign-up, verification, and login as seamless as possible. Third, we want to be able to hold our users accountable for their actions while keeping them safe. Our platform is an open community. We can't invoke trust and have people feel safe on our platform if we don't first establish that trusted relationship. And then fourth, we want to be able to reach the largest possible audience possible. All in all, going back to the title of my presentation here, we're looking to grow Twitch safely and securely. But now that I have an idea of what my core objectives are, I stepped back and I said, all right, how can I achieve these goals for the largest possible audience? When looking at those third-party sign-up tools, they are sometimes more easy to integrate than some of our systems that require SMS. The problem is that I can't guarantee that a Twitch user in Korea is on Facebook. I don't know if a Brazilian Twitch user is on Google. But what I do have a lot of confidence is that the majority of mobile users, the majority of legitimate mobile users, have a mobile phone number. So that is the solution that we decided to go with. With phone sign-up and verification, we empower our users to create and verify their accounts with a mobile phone number and an SMS-based one-time password provided by Twilio. So that OTP is sent via Twilio. We created a one-to-one mapping as well as an account recovery flow via an SMS so that our mobile users wouldn't have to go to customer support to reset their account. They wouldn't have to log onto the website to reset their account. They could do that all on their phone. Lastly here, with phone sign-up and verification, we're able to minimize how often we show CAPTCHA. for our good actors. Now, I'm sure most of you here, as I am tired of trying to help Google identify buses and bridges. So providing another way for users to verify their account seemed to feel real good. So even as we got through deciding to use phone number, sign up, and verification, there are even more options to choose for our initial product. I was going to focus you guys on this one all the way on the right with Uber. So when I was thinking through those goals, right, to be seamless, to be safe, Uber has a phone-first sign-up experience that is passwordless. That seemed to ring in all the bells for me. I'm not only verifying via SMS, but I also don't need to ask users for a password. And let's be honest, we all forget our passwords from time to time, and having to recover them is a pain in the butt. So I started speccing this out, getting high-level designs, and then I had a stakeholder meeting, and cue the panic. Cue the panic from my security, my legal teams, and my safety teams, who told me the fact that I was introducing passwordless would never fly. So I had to take a step back and say, okay, well, what is it that I'm trying to do? Let's focus in on the key goal. And I realized we were trying to do one too many things at a time. Not only were we trying to introduce a new identifier to the Twitch ecosystem, but we were also removing a security factor requirement. And at this point, oops, hit the wrong button. It was time to descope and focus on just that first bit, the phone sign up and verification. So the next question we had was whether or not to buy or build this product. Sending an SMS today might seem fairly trivial, but there's actually a lot of nuances. There's understanding the deliverability rate. There's understanding the raw SMS. There's also understanding when certain countries require you to have a partnership with them in order to get the critical mobile data that you need, as you do in Canada. We partnered with Twilio to help us deal with all these little intricacies and to wrap up all the tech into a nice little API that we could use. Obviously, we did that, otherwise I would not be here today. So I wanted to just quickly walk you through what our email sign up and verification experience looks like here. I've already deleted and deactivated my account, so please don't try to spoof them. The wheel of death related to making sure you're over 13 years of age. Then you saw the lovely reCAPTCHA, and now I've got to toggle over to my email to get a verification code. And if you have a slight dyslexia like me, there's 50% chance you're going to get those 6 digits mixed up and have to toggle back. Luckily, in this instance, I got them all right. So now I'm going to take you to the phone sign-up verification process that we implemented. Again, please don't SMS spam me. I would really appreciate that. And once we hit that wheel of death, we get a native code where we type it in. You can see that we've created an experience that reduced our verification from 2 steps into 1 and minimized the human interaction that's required in order to minimize human error. So how did we integrate this solution? That seems pretty well, the back button doesn't really work here, so I can't go back. But that phone experience seemed pretty basic, right? Didn't seem like there was a lot there. In reality, this was a very complex project. This action plan might seem simple, but in reality, there were many little details that we had to cover. So first we got started, after coming up with the spec and the high-level designs, after the passwordless shenanigans, we started to think about, okay, well, would we be able to support phone sign-up today in our mobile application? And what we realized was we actually had a couple months worth of prerequisite work that we needed to do in order to develop and deliver an end-to-end mobile UX. This mainly involved some native conversions, some tech debt, as well as enabling our mobile users to change their contact information within the app. Twitch has historically been a desktop site. So in a lot of ways, that meant that mobile was kind of secondary. And when we would release features, especially around settings and users and settings and how to change various things in your profile, we wouldn't necessarily think as mobile as a P1 priority, something that we have to get out initially. And because of that, I had to go back through and clean this stuff up. I had to ensure that our mobile users could change their email, change their password, all within the app, not require them to go to customer support or to log on the desktop. Additionally, I wanted to make sure those mobile-first users that we have, if they were cross-platform users, they would know where to go on the web to change their information, i.e. making sure both platforms were in parity with their experiences. Lastly, we had to do some tracking and measurement work to ensure we had a good baseline for our existing experience so that when we went to phone number sign up, we would be able to accurately measure the results. All right, so here's the crux of the work that we had to do. Introducing a new identifier basically trickles down to the majority, will trickle down to the majority of your teams at your company. Getting identification right is hard, and if you screw it up, it is a very painful process to fix. So I started out, once I had a firm idea of what I wanted to build, I had to partner with every single PM at Twitch to understand how introducing a phone number as an identifier would A, impact the customer experience, number one, and two, impact their systems and processes internally. So just to give you two examples here on the commerce piece. Twitch has monetization features that our creators use to earn money. The two notable ones are subscriptions and bits. So users can subscribe to a channel. They can also cheer on those creators with bits. When they purchase those things, we obviously want to send them a receipt denoting that purchase. Twitch uses email for its receipts. This works well on mobile since those purchases go through the app stores and you have to have an email set up with your App Store account. However, in the use case where we have a mobile-first user who signs up with a phone number and then goes to the desktop and we don't have an email address for them, we would have no way to notify them of their purchase. So I worked with the commerce team to build out a checkout flow that also include adding an email address so that they could get that receipt. Another example here is on the notifications team. Obviously, we want the ability to reach our phone-only users in the event that we need to communicate with them. Without email, and in some cases without push turned on, the only avenue we would have is SMS. So we worked with our internal notifications platform to integrate Twilio's programmable SMS product to ensure that if and when we needed to reach those phone-only users in an automated way, we could. Our timeline. So I think one of the key parts about this project is that we were able to integrate, verify, programmable SMS, and finish this project in about 6.5 months. You'll see here that the core engineering work took about 3.5 to 4 months, only about 2/3 of our overall time. That is because the dependency work that we had to do to ensure we didn't break the customer experience or our internal systems took the entire time that we ran this product. It's kind of surprising when you think about it. I know I constantly, when looking at the Figma files, Figma's the design product that we use, the core experience was, maybe 2 or 3 rows of screenshots. But the actual support work was rows and rows and rows to ensure we had an end-to-end trusted mobile experience. So let's talk a little bit about what went well. I have to say that in the end, when we launched our MVP, we had no major bugs, which was awesome. And a lot of that had to deal with how tightly we coordinated among our stakeholders, keeping them in the loop, ensuring that they were progressing on their work was critical for us to not only deliver on time, but to deliver the experience that we wanted. And though it may seem basic, staying organized is also super important. Staying organized invokes trust in those cross-functional stakeholders so that when they go to do their work, they know that you're going to deliver your half, and in the event that you need to, you can meet them more than halfway on their support. That constant communication is another one. I was fortunate enough to work with a TPM for about the first 4 months of this project. She and I together co-led it, and with that, we were able to keep that coordination and communication alive. We had weekly summary emails that went out every Friday to about 60 stakeholders. We had 2 Slack channels, and at the end of every single day, my TPMI would sit down and make sure decisions and meetings that had happened that day, we were in agreement upon, that we understood exactly what was decided and exactly what the next steps were. Next, we thought critically about how the change would impact every part of our business. Again, going back to the fact that that dependency work lasted the entire 6 months, we thought critically through every potential edge case. And that means that we didn't have a solution for every single edge case. It just meant that if somebody asked us about it, we had an answer and we had a contingency plan in place if we needed to address it. And lastly, we kept our eye on the prize. So I think one of the things and a piece of feedback that I got on this project was how motivated everybody was to work on it. Keeping your eye on your prize, keeping your stakeholders focused in on what you want to achieve helps them to deliver their core parts on time. And with these key things, we were able to keep happy stakeholders for the most part. Now, we always know there's going to be a grump or two. And we delivered an MVP on time with no major bugs. So let's talk a little bit about what could have gone better. Testing. Relatively new to the tech world. At this point, I'm not sure you can actually do too much testing. I mean, obviously, if you never launch a product, that's considered too much testing. But in this case, I fundamentally believe that we could have done more testing, and I'll give you 2 use cases here. Our initial MVP that we launched had slightly different UIs on our Android and iOS platforms. So even though my mobile engineers sit together, at some point we had a conversation and one of them left thinking one thing and one of them left thinking another. It's on me as the product manager to make sure I'm testing both the Android and iOS platforms together to ensure we have uniform experiences in parity. Sometimes you obviously want those experiences to be different because you have different customers. But in this case, when we were making such a big change to the user experience, we wanted that parity so we could have quality measurement and results. As a result of that tiny little mishap, we launched 2 new versions about a week later so that we could get those good results. The second example here, and I'm a little ashamed to say this, is that we didn't launch our first version with a country code picker. So I just sat there and I told you how important it is to think about international and to take your US hat off. And when I was testing this product, I was so caught up in making the experience on iOS as seamless as possible that Android and our international experience took a back seat. Now that was a shame on me. And I will learn from that and make sure I don't make that mistake again. We're currently working on introducing a country code picker to our experience. Now, the other piece of that with the international experience is that I would have I didn't partner as closely with our international teams as I wanted to. I should have had people in each one of our core markets test this and report back to me in a video format so that I could actually judge for myself that that experience was what we wanted it to be. Secondly, get buy-in from key stakeholders early. So going back to my passwordlessness kerfuffle, had I talked to legal, security, and safety early on, I could have saved about 6 weeks worth of time building out a spec that included a passwordless experience. So that just means if you know you have core or key stakeholders who are going to block your product launch, make sure you coordinate with them first. Have contingency plans for your dependencies. So with a big cross-functional project like this, it's obvious that, for my core team of about 4 engineers at the time, we weren't going to be able to build all of this ourselves. We didn't know the stacks of other teams. We didn't have that domain expertise. And so it was on me and my TPM to advocate for our stakeholders to do the work themselves. When we take that notification example where we want to be able to automatically reach phone-only users via SMS, that work came down, so that work was continuing through early April with our launch date of April 26th. With that launch date of April 26th, we were constantly trying to get all the work done on time, and this notification work kept slipping. So ultimately, I decided to launch the product without having that automated flow because we had a manual backup. If we needed to reach one of our mobile users, we had a way to do that. We didn't anticipate a large volume of users to need to send SMS to because we were only going out to about 20% of our users with our initial launch. So that was a contingency that I deemed okay to launch a couple weeks after our initial launch. And lastly, patience and openness. So getting into a little bit of your softer skills. If you happen to recall, my product spec was essentially done by early December. And once I was done with that, I really wanted a launch date. I was ready to receive one from my engineers, and I wanted to have one before the holiday season. So I kept pushing my engineers, hey, when are we gonna launch? When are we gonna launch? When are we gonna launch? And you know, engineers don't really like to hear that. They like to think critically about what they're building to ensure that they're giving you a realistic time frame. So had I invoked a little bit more patience, I think I could have eased a little stress and anxiety that we had towards the end of the year in terms of getting our developers in line with a launch date. So the results. Unfortunately, I can't go too deep into numbers as a company policy, but I can tell you that we did increase verification and contactability when we launched phone number sign-up. We improved the UX by getting rid of reCAPTCHA with a massive improvement to our sign-up error rate. We had a massive decline in terms of the number of users experiencing trouble signing up to our platform, all because of this one little change where you could tap the code from your app to verify your account. And with this, we were able to reach more users. We know this when it comes to our international user base because we saw an increase in engagement and retention from a core group of international users on our Android platform. All of this to say is that we successfully and safely added a new identifier to our ecosystem and addressed our mobile-first needs and expectations. So, as a final takeaway, would love for you guys to leave with the thought that there is no one path to product. I'm fortunate enough in my chain of command that I'm told, hey JB, I'm never gonna tell you what to build, that's up to you. And when I went to go implement safer, more secure, seamless way to sign up to Twitch, I prioritized that safety and security over the seamlessness. That was a decision that I made because I personally believe that invoking trust as early as you can with your customers is key in retaining them and establishing a long-lasting relationship. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time today.